They say you were born whole, but then something shattered. Before you even had words, before you knew what pain was, a wound opened, right in the arms that were supposed to keep you safe. This is the mother wound. It doesn't always look like abuse. Sometimes it's subtle. The guilt you feel for saying no, the fear of disappointing others, the chronic anxiety that whispers, "You're never enough." Carl Jung believed the first relationship shapes the entire psyche. If that bond is unstable, we internalize chaos. We learn love as transaction. We confuse obedience with worth. And we carry that confusion into every future relationship. Romantic, platonic, even professional. You might say, "But my mom did her best." And maybe she did. This isn't about blame, it's about pattern, because many women carry their own unhealed wounds and unconsciously pass them on. Maybe your mother lived her life afraid, so she taught you to shrink yourself. Maybe she never found her voice, so she silenced yours. Maybe she was always busy pleasing others, so she shamed you for wanting more. This isn't about demonizing mothers. It's about acknowledging pain so we can finally break the cycle. Most people don't even know they're wounded. They just feel off. They attract emotionally unavailable partners. They overachieve, hoping success will earn love. Or they self-sabotage, punishing themselves for needs they were taught were too much. But you're not most people. You're here because something in you wants to understand, to heal, to be free, and freedom begins with truth. The truth is, this wound wasn't your fault, but healing it, that's your responsibility. They told you your mother loved you. But what they didn't tell you is that love can be a prison. A mother's love, especially when wounded, is rarely unconditional. It often comes with chains. Approval becomes a currency. Your obedience earns affection. Your rebellion invites withdrawal. Slowly, you learn to mold yourself, not into who you are, but into who she needs you to be. This is the foundation of the mother wound. It's not just about pain. It's about distortion. A distortion of your identity, of your needs, of your voice. Carl Jung understood this well. He believed the child's psyche is not born into neutrality, but into a battlefield of inherited trauma. Your mother's anxieties, her unmet dreams, her inner child, they all live through you, unless you break the pattern. But here's the trap. The mother wound doesn't always feel like a wound. It feels like guilt, like pressure, like an invisible force that stops you from choosing yourself. You feel guilty for setting boundaries. You feel selfish for wanting space. You feel disloyal for healing your own path. Why? Because you were taught that your worth is tied to how well you manage her emotions. But that's a lie. You are not her caretaker. You are not her emotional crutch. You are not her second chance. You are you. A sovereign being with a life of your own. And healing the mother wound starts with reclaiming that sovereignty. But don't expect applause when you begin this journey. The old roles will resist. She may guilt you. Others may shame you. Your own inner voice, shaped by years of conditioning, might scream, "You're ungrateful." But Jung reminds us, individuation isn't about pleasing others. It's about becoming whole. And wholeness often means disappointment to those who benefit from your fragmentation. So you must ask, do you want to be approved? Or do you want to be free because you can't be both? Healing the mother wound isn't a single act. It's a rebellion, not against your mother as a person, but against the internalized version of her that lives inside your psyche. That voice, the one that whispers, "Don't be too loud. Don't be too bold. Don't be too much." It's her fear speaking through you, her caution, her survival instinct, but it's not yours, and if you keep obeying it, you'll never truly know who you are, only who you were taught to be. This is the cost of the wound, self-abandonment disguised as loyalty. So, what does healing look like? It's not a hallmark moment. It's not forgiveness in the shallow sense. It's the messy, terrifying process of reparenting yourself. Carl Jung called this process individuation, the becoming of the self. And it always requires confrontation. Confronting the lies you inherited, confronting the guilt that chains you, confronting the parts of you that still crave permission. You have to disappoint the version of you she created to become the version life is calling you to be. And that version, she's bolder, she's freer, she's louder. She no longer asks, "Is this okay?" She says, "This is who I am." But this path has a price: exile. You might lose the closeness you had. You might feel alone in your family. You might even grieve the mother you never had. Yet in that grief, something awakens. A new mother is born, not outside of you, but within you. She is fierce, wise, and finally your own. And from this place of inner motherhood, you stop seeking approval and start giving yourself permission. This is the rite of passage. This is the turning point. The moment you realize you don't have to earn love anymore, you are love. You don't just outgrow the mother wound, you carry it, like a whisper in your choices, a tremor in your voice, a filter on your self-worth. Even as an adult, her voice is still in your head. You're too much. You're not enough. Don't be selfish. Be perfect, but invisible. So you start shrinking, performing, apologizing for your needs. You become the adult who always puts others first, not out of compassion, but out of fear. Fear that if you stop, you'll be unloved. Fear that love is always conditional. Carl Jung called this a shadow mother. She's not just a person anymore. She's a pattern, a psychological imprint, an inherited spell you live under until you break it. But here's the paradox. The more you deny that wound, the more it controls you. You attract people who mirror her energy. You become emotionally dependent, or worse, emotionally absent. You either become her, or you keep trying to fix her in others. So how do you break free? First, stop idealizing her. She was human. She was flawed, maybe even deeply wounded herself. You don't need to hate her, but you do need to grieve the mother you didn't have, to stop chasing that love in places it never existed. Second, learn to mother yourself, not with bubble baths and empty affirmations, but with radical boundaries, with inner reparenting, with the voice that says, "I see you, you're safe, you're allowed to take up space." Finally, forgive yourself for the ways you've coped, the perfectionism, the people-pleasing, the numbness. You were surviving, but now you're choosing to live. So now tell me this. If the voice inside your head still sounds like her, are you really free? Or are you just living her script with a different name?